Hey guys, so here are the enchiladas, the famous enchiladas that everybody always wants to know the recipe. I'm going to show you today how you do it. So, super simple enchilada recipe. I have 2 cloves of ajo because they were on the small side, so I did 2. And I have about 10 or 11 pieces of Chile De Arbol, and this one is dorado. It's already toasted, but you do not need it to be. That's just what I have, so I'm going to use these. Chile De Arbol, if it has the tail on, just break it off and use that if it's the regular one, or you can even use Chile Japonés. They're similar, so that would be okay too if that's what you have. 2 ajos and like 10 or 11 of those little ones. And these are the Chile Guajillo. These have a deeper red color than the California. If you ever see them in the store, you just compare the color. California is a little brighter red and these are a little bit darker. I'm using Chile Guajillo, and we have a good amount here. So I will kind of count them as I go, just so you guys can get an idea how much I'm using. But you're gonna use quite a bit. The more Chile Guajillo you use, the better. Just so, that's just a tip I can give, is that when I used to try to make the enchiladas, they were good, but I always felt like they never tasted like my mom's. And I've been making them for a long time now, but finally, one time she told me, "Are you putting a lot of Chile Guajillo?" And I said, "Yeah," or "No." And she's like, "Well, that's your problem." And I said, "Okay." So put a lot of this chile. Even if right now that I see that I might need a little more, I may add more. It just depends on how it looks in the blender. I'm gonna rinse all of this. So I'm gonna put it in the blender and then I'll rinse it. So I'm gonna dump these in here, the ajo and the Chile De Arbol. And then I'm gonna take these off and start dumping the chile in there. And you can clear out some of the chile, the little seeds, if you want. Just try to shake out whatever you can. You don't have to make sure it's all gone, but do your best to get as much as you can. It's a super simple recipe. I bet you some of you are like, "Dang, that's it? That's all my tia Leonor used? That's all she used?" But yes, that's it. Because I know a lot of people like this enchilada recipe. And it's really simple, guys. My mom was a super, like, she cooked with simple stuff. It wasn't complicated because, you know, she knew the struggle. She knew the struggle and she knew how to feed people, and she made good food. So, oh, I forgot to count these as I was going. So far I got 1, 2, 3. So we're like at 5 chiles so far, I think. 6. Okay, so that's a good amount of chiles. It was about 15 chiles because some were like half pieces. So about 15 Chile Guajillo. You want it to look like this. You want your blender to be a little bit on the full side. Once you wet them, they're gonna kind of shrink in a little. So I'm gonna rinse this in at the sink. I just, swirl water around I just swirl water around a few times and then, kind of clean them off and dump the water a couple times until they look clean. They're not really dirty, it's just sometimes they're a little dusty. So you just want to rinse them off real quick. Okay, so I rinsed them and I added my water to blend. And we have about, it's at the, I can't see. It's just under 5 cups, like barely 5 cups of water is right here. And it's just barely under it. So 3 to 4 cups of water, because you don't want it to be, if you don't put enough water, it's gonna be really thick. So you don't want it super thick either. So we'll see how this looks right now. This is a teaspoon of salt. And you're gonna also add a tablespoon of harina or flour. And that's just to kind of thicken my lid. Here it is. So, another very important part of making your enchiladas, the sauce. You make sure you have a lot of Chile Guajillo and you make sure you blend and blend and blend and blend until it looks really smooth and you don't see hardly any pieces of seeds in there, because if some seeds got in there, you don't want big chunks of seeds, you don't want big chunks of chile. It's not a salsa, it's the sauce for enchiladas. So you want to make sure that everything is very smooth as you can get it. So if your blender's a little newer and better, it's gonna be really quick, probably the blending process. But mine is older and it has seen a lot of moles, enchilada sauces, and birrias and all that. So it's gonna take me a little bit longer. Our salsa is ready. I got it as smooth as I can get it. You see those teeny tiny little specks? I tried to get all of that. So those are really small. You don't want it to be any bigger than that. If you can't blend it as smooth, because like I said, mine is a little older, that's all right. But you want it as smooth as you can get it, okay? Like the tiniest pieces only. You don't want big chunks of seed. Like there's little tiny pieces of seed. So as smooth as you can get it. Okay, so we're gonna go start making the enchilada. Okay everyone, so we're gonna finish the sauce. So you are going to need some oil. Use whatever oil you want. I'm using canola oil. And you want a good amount to coat the bottom. I don't like a lot of oil, so I'm gonna do a small amount. My mom would frown upon this, but I don't like a lot of oil. So you can do a little more because the whole point is to guisar the chile. So you're gonna, cook the chile. It's gonna get a little bit, not fried, but sauteed, right? We just need the oil to heat up. And you wanna let it simmer a little. So you're gonna toss this in. It might jump a little at you. You're gonna toss it, your sauce in, and oh, I'm wearing a shirt I like. Dang it. Don't wear a shirt you like. Wear something black. Anyway, you're gonna put it in and you're gonna just mix it really good until you don't see the oil separating from the enchilada sauce. And then you're gonna let it simmer for a little bit, okay? I already made my tortillas in advance. So if you're gonna make enchiladas one day, it is a process rolling them up for a lot of people. So if you're going to make a lot, I do just suggest that you make a lot of tortillas early in the day if it's for a lot of people, okay? It will save you time. Okay, let's see if our oil is ready. I don't know. Usually when it moves really easy. Okay. So we're gonna pour in our enchilada sauce. Oh, please don't jump on me. You see that? That's what you want. The way it's bubbling and simmering already. So you see how it's separated the oil from the chile? You're gonna mix until it's not doing that no more. Just stir this until you don't see that separation of the aceite. See how it's smooth? There's not a whole lot of big pieces of chile. I need a new blender, by the way. I've been thinking about getting a new blender because I do need one. This one's starting to be like, girl, I'm tired. You cook too much. And I'm like, so? No, but really I need a new blender. But it is pretty good. So I let it go for a long time. I didn't check how long it took, but you know, you let it go for long enough and there's not a lot of big pieces of semilla, the seed, or pieces of chile in there, so I'm not mad at it. It does a good job. But you could tell sometimes it doesn't want to work anymore. It's like ready to retire. So if you know a really good blender, comment below what you have if you have a really good one. I really hope you guys try these, and you need to post pictures in the comments when you try the food, because I've had some people Snapchat me that they've tried the gordita recipe, and that's cool. That makes me happy. But share your work. Share with the class. Okay, so it's pretty well mixed in. You can see that there's not a lot of big separation anymore. So I'm gonna leave it alone, and I'm gonna let it simmer. If you feel like, I mean, I think it's thick enough. I don't think it's too runny or too thick either. You don't want it to be really runny, and you don't want it to be super thick. So it coats the back of the spoon. I think we're good. But if you felt like it was too runny, you can always throw a little bit more flour in the blender, since it still has a little bit of chile in there, like a tiny bit of flour, and blend just a tiny bit of water and mix it in. But it's perfect, really. You don't need to do anything to this one. All right. So I'm gonna let it start to simmer, and then spirit fingers, and then we are going to roll the enchiladas, which, FYI, it feels like you're gonna be left without fingerprints. So if you feel like you need to use, maybe just fold it over with like a fork and a spoon, or a fork and a spatula, or some of these, just fold it into 3 parts. I mean, do what you gotta do, but always keep napkins are gonna be your best friends, okay? So what I do is that when my fingers get too like hot, like I feel like, oh my gosh, I have napkins nearby, a clean one, and you'll see me rinse my fingers, and then I just wipe it off on the napkin, and then the napkin stays damp, so then I'll just keep wiping my fingers on the napkin that I have, because it does hurt, okay? Just, this is gonna hurt a little bit. It does hurt a little, so do what you can, what works for you. Even if that means that you have to lower the heat of the sauce, that's perfectly fine. You gotta put your sauce on low, do it. Save your fingerprints. So it was already starting to simmer, and I'm gonna try to save my fingerprints today, okay? And I am going to turn the heat down on a low heat. It's like between low and 3. I don't know what number that is. It's like a 1-ish or 2-ish, I don't know. And earlier it was on a 5. I had turned it up a little to get it to simmer. Okay, so it's good. The longer this goes simmering, or like this on a really low heat, the better. You want to cover it with the lid if you're not going to use it right away, because it will get like a weird layer on top, or it will start to thicken more and like consumirse, however you say that in English, I don't know. And it'll thicken more, and you don't want that. So you want to make sure you cover it with the lid if you're not going to use it right away, and take it off the heat so it doesn't continue to thicken. So I'm going to use some more oil over here. Just a little bit. No need to go crazy. I just coat the bottom of the pan just enough, and that's it. And if I need more, I add more. You can use olive oil if you want to. You don't have to use canola oil. You can use whatever oil you want. The cheese that we are going to use today is, ta-da! Now, you're going to say, why are you using Parmesan cheese in Mexican enchiladas? Because that's just how we grew up. My mom always used Parmesan cheese in the enchiladas. Back in the day though, in the Rancho Grande, just kidding, in her rancho when she was growing up, they made queso by hand. My mom knows how to make cheese too, guys. I told her to teach me because I don't want to, I love Mexican cheese, so I would love to learn and at least say that once in my life I made Mexican cheese. But Parmesan cheese, I don't know, I didn't ask her why she switched. I'm assuming it was just more affordable or easier when she came to the United States and was making food for all of us. So I don't know, that's a good question. I should have asked her. But Parmesan cheese is what we use. I use Mexican cheese too sometimes, like the block cheese, and I crumble it and they're bomb like that. Or I use like the cojita cheese from the Gorditas, and that's also bomb. But this is the original, and this is what we grew up on, and I always miss this, and we always go back to this. Sometimes I make it out of Mexican cheese, like the block one that I break up, or out of the cojita, but we always go back to the OG, which is the Parmesan. Right, so our chile, I think the chile is pretty much, it's been ready. The aceite should be nice and hot, so we're gonna put our first tortilla in. I lied, it's not hot. So I thought the oil was a lot hotter than it looked. It looked like it was ready, but it wasn't. So this is gonna be in here a little bit longer, which I don't like, but it's okay. It happens to the best of us. But you just want to toast it really quick in the aceite. If you like crunchy enchiladas, which are really bomb, leave it in here longer, and they get a little hard, the tortilla, and it's a little hard to roll it. But listen, it's like super delicious when the tortilla is a little bit crunchy, okay? So just keep that in mind. Now, we're gonna get it out. We're gonna let it drain off a little. And then we put it in the chile. And then we start the next one. And then we will take this one and just kind of let it get some sauce on it. Pick it up. And use whatever works for you. If the tongs rip them, use a spatula so you can get it out a little easier. And then you go like this, put some cheese on it, a little bit of cebolla. Según las enchiladas sin cebolla no son enchiladas, that's what my mom says. And they actually are really good with the cebolla. I'm not a big fan of it, never have been as a kid. I never got them with enchiladas with cebolla when she was making them, but now I actually do add the cebolla. It's like, ooh, she wasn't lying. She was not lying. So this is how you make my mom's and mine famous enchiladas. So put that there. Last one. You're just gonna do the same thing, kind of move it around so it gets fully covered. Put it in here. Put a little bit of quesito. But yes, the cojita cheese, the one from the Gorditas, tastes really good with these two. But this Parmesan, man, if you guys just try them. And those of you that have tried my mom's enchiladas, you already know. I forgot I had a spoon, guys, for the onion. Last one, last one. You just, if it gets like, you know, esponjadita, little fluffy like that, you want, that's what that's kind of what you want. You want it to get a little bit, fluffy, I guess. And like I said, if you want to leave it in there longer and make it a little hard, ooh, that's so good when you do that. So good. Look at that sauce. Look at that chile, the color. Okay. Lay down. Lay down. You gotta do this to them. Put a little bit more chile over top. Oh, they smell so good. So these, you're going to top them with more queso. More cebollita. You know what? I'm not using a spoon, guys, because it's a little difficult to sprinkle. You gotta have that little, you know, that little, like that, right? So there you go. Perfección. So those are the famous enchiladas. Thank you guys for watching. Like, subscribe, you already know. Comment down below if you want to see something else, and try them and post a picture in the comments if you do. Bye.